Ms. Butts?
Here.
Ms. Shakarian?
Here.
Mr. Corrigan?
Here.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Here.
Mr. Shi?
Here.
Okay. The first order of business is approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting of 12/19/2024. The minutes of the Joint Finance and Human Resource Committee meeting of 12/17/2024. There are no omissions or additions. I move for adoption.
Second.
Ms. Butts?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Rashid?
Yes.
We're going to begin with a presentation from Cleveland, Jamie Mason, just the chief of Cleveland. Thank you,
Hello.
Jamie.
Good afternoon.
Yes.
So I was told I only have 5 minutes, so I'm just trying to be real brief for you guys. Snapshot of what we've done. Next slide, please. Of what we've done over the last couple of years. So
I hope it's padded, certainly.
Okay. So I am Jamie Mason. I started January 1st of 2023. I do also have Mohammed Raghev with me. He started March of 2024. So we're lucky to have him. But the first slide that you have, I just wanted to highlight the number of staff transitions that we had, the vacancies that we had. So really one of the very first priorities of the first year was working with CPL HR and getting those vacancies filled. We did fill a bunch of those. We were able to create a couple various new positions and got those filled. And then we, as of actually yesterday, we are completely full staff. So this has been 5 years in the making, so we're very happy. And I'm very appreciative of CPL HR. Next slide, please. So some of the things that we've done, the strategic planning process is started. We are in committee. So the committee is working on goals and objectives. I've kind of outlined it in the board reports each month, but we did focus groups, including a focus group for CPL staff and a focus group for CleveNet staff. We did small libraries, we did large libraries, and then we also did a survey that was passed out to all staff of all of our member libraries. So now we're starting to cull through that data and go through our objectives. We're planning to have that done April for a presentation to our directors at their quarterly directors meeting. We converted all our email notices to MessageBee. MessageBee is a Patron Point replacement, and Patron Point, their service was really deteriorating, and they made a couple very large mistakes at some libraries where like 9,000 emails were sent out because of a mistake that they made, and I felt like their service wasn't as good. They didn't really own up to that mistake either.
Are these internal message, or is this like to all the customers?
So this is like a constant contact type of message that libraries, all of our members can use to market to their members, and it's tied directly to CERC. So they have all of those email addresses that we already have. And then also all of our notices. So you might have seen around September last year where the notices started to come from like CPL. So it's branded and marketed for each member library. So it appears that your notices are coming from that library. It's giving you their information to contact them. So overdues, holds, bill notices, etc. And then we're going to be working actually this month with Unique to do the phone notification, because our phone notification is antiquated and it's on a homegrown system. So we're going to be working on that. We started working on a new member site that actually will be presented to the directors at our upcoming meeting at the end of this month. John Posh has been working diligently on that. It's a SharePoint site, so it's using the Microsoft technology that we have. We did training for Blue Cloud Analytics, so our staff was able to do that training for all members. Blue Cloud Analytics is statistics. So it's kind of a light version of what John's trying to do with the data warehousing. So it's much more light than that.
Explain a little more about the Blue Cloud Analytics.
Yeah, so it's a system that allows it allows the reports. The reports used to be in CERC where they were pretty limited to the scope of what they could be that library members could do. And so with the Blue Cloud Analytics, it kind of takes all of the data out of CERC. It's also their platform, and then it allows configurable reports. So you can dial more into like statistics as far as like, you might want to see where a patron zip code is, like where they're coming from. John created a dashboard for all the members where it's really interesting to see where their home locations are versus where they're checking things out.
Right.
The new online catalog and mobile app was launched October of last year. So I'm sure you all remember even a year before that when the app just stopped working. That deal with Solus and Cersei went haywire. And we really had no notice of that. So we started looking at a new mobile app and what our options were with that. And then we came across Bywater, which is an open source solution, which means the community helps develop it. So a lot of the features that people want will be released, and they do updates every month with that. So the new catalog was launched. We started a new service of, we actually have cloud backup of all of our M365 data, so our Microsoft data. So this is really for a disaster recovery type of effort. So Microsoft guarantees like a 99.9 and 6 nines after that, the decimal point of availability. And so most of the stuff, if you had an email and you deleted it and 60 days later you're just like, oh, I missed it, we can get that from Microsoft. But if we were to have a ransomware attack or we were to have some other major disaster, this is an additional backup in the cloud of all of that. So it would help with our restoration efforts of that. And then we started using E-rate last year, which is considerable savings for us. So we'll average anywhere from probably 75 to 80% savings on network equipment. You'll notice that hopefully the internet is much better. Your network connectivity is much better in here. We're going through all of CPL right now and refreshing all of the APs there. I think that's over 50% done, and that's part of the E-rate project. So we're working with Lori Gurman on that, and of course Carrie was helping us with that as well. And then 2023, and then again this past year, we updated some hardware at the SOC. So our Nimble server is the processors for the VMware. So we run, it's a bunch of computers inside one computer. So multiple processors that allow us to virtually have these various machines. So we updated that, and then this past year we also updated the Blade server, which is the hard drive storage. So that's the other component of that. Next slide, please. We went through a big Microsoft 365 tenant migration. So everybody was all under the CleanNet umbrella with that. And so all of the email addresses, even though it said CPL or it said a different member library, they were all under that umbrella. And because of Microsoft licensing changes and really the betterment of the network, we separated everyone out. So each library has their own tenant right now. So that was a major project in 2023. This past year, we were able to upgrade all of our legacy servers to 2022. So we had a lot of 2012 servers, which were out of date. So again, network security, VPN user audit. One of the things that we found out happened at Akron with their big attack was it was actually a VPN. So somebody had got VPN credentials from a user. And so we went through and did a VPN audit and deleted all accounts that weren't used in the last year. And then we're actually on a 6-month rolling basis now, we'll be continuing to remove those users that shouldn't have VPN access. Applied for Mohammed, worked again with Lori and Tracy at CPL to apply for a $300,000 FCC cybersecurity grant. This will help provide endpoint protection and identity protection for all of the users. So, excuse me.
This way China won't know what I was reading.
It actually uses some AI to figure out a little bit of the pattern. So like if you're typically logging in from Cleveland, for instance, which you would expect, if we then get a login from Huron, it's going to be like, hey, maybe this isn't right. And so it'll be flagged. So, but yes, it definitely helps with that. So we're waiting to hear what we're doing with that. most recently, Phoronix and Ninja One, basically, those are ways to manage all of the member PCs so that we can make sure that they're up to date, they're patched. Any security updates are applied to them. It's an easier way for us to manage, and it gives us a better view of what actually is out there as far as the actual operating systems. It gives us a better inventory of what we're dealing with, so we can help people with, getting rid of 2007 machines, for instance, which you'd be surprised they're out there. And then we started also looking at new possible call manager options for the voice over IP. This is about 3 years out before we have to renew this contract, but we wanted to start looking at what the options are and make sure that we're ready, what kind of rollout we're gonna have to do with that so that we're prepared, that we're not reacting to things. And then finally, Darren did a lot with the network segmentation. So it's kind of like the Microsoft tenant migration, where there's all of that umbrella, and then we separated them out. That's what the network segmentation does, where traffic that doesn't need to surpass CPL, for instance, just goes exactly where it needs to. It doesn't need to flood the network with all of that traffic. And that's another security measure. Next slide. And then some of the things that we're looking forward to for this year. We're obviously part of the strategic planning, completing that and the initiatives that come with that. But I'm looking to do some service level agreements where some of the things that we'd like to do is to make sure that all of our members understand what CleveNet services and products are provided. So basically where CleveNet stops and where the libraries begin, what their responsibilities are for their products, and what the responsibilities we have for ours, and what they should or shouldn't do with ours. And then also when members enter a ticket, for instance, what should that expectation be? So when you enter a ticket, are you waiting a day? If you wait longer than a day and you don't have any response, what's the escalation? What are our typical complete response times to have a ticket closed? Now, there's always going to be situations where maybe it's going to take longer, but as long as we're communicating with members and they expect that communication or understand what's going on with that process, I think it makes all of us better. And then working with John Malcolm on the business continuity plan, and that's all around cybersecurity, disaster recovery. What happens if there's a major catastrophic failure? How do we continue to run? How do we make sure CERC's running? How do we make sure that everyone knows what to do in those circumstances? And then KnowBe4 was actually one of our newer services that we started last year, and that is email phishing training. So that is training the staff to understand when somebody might be sending a phish email. And when it comes from KnowBe4, and they're pretty sophisticated, if they click on a link in this email, it'll let them know this is a phishing email, and this is what you should look for in this email. And then there's also various videos and trainings that they can go through to educate themselves on that. And that again is available for all members, and each member is able to coordinate it on their own, or they can get assistance from our staff if they're too small or they don't have a tech staff. And then again, disaster recovery response. And I think the difference between that one and the business continuity, I think is overall, and disaster recovery is really just our internal stuff. So what are we looking at? The plan that we have in place, and then going through that plan periodically as well to make sure all of those things are still up to date, that we know what we're doing, and we know where to find the plan.
Is that training going to be mandatory for all staff?
The KnowBe4?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's throughout CleveNet now. They're still learning the system. I think some libraries have some campaigns that are already going, and they can go from very basic, which are easy to spot, to very complicated. But if you click on a link that you weren't supposed to in one of these emails, you will be required to view the video to go through the training, et cetera. And then it'll work it's all staff will. So all of CleveNet basically will get these throughout the year.
I had a question related to the network refresh with E-Rate. Is that a direct grant to CleveNet from the FCC, or are we getting the E-rate benefit through the state of Ohio? How does that
That's
work?
federal. E-rate is federal.
Okay.
Yeah, and that comes directly to CleanNet. It's based on, it's the level 2 network. So that's where we're able to do the network devices. And we actually have to reach out to each member that we're applying on and get a signature from them that we're allowed to do that on their behalf.
But isn't it based on poverty population?
It is.
So we get the benefit for all of CleanNet based on the totality of membership in poverty, or is it based on CPLs?
It's based on each individual member. So there are some members that either don't qualify or don't have a good rate. So some may not be SIPA compliant, so they can't apply at all. We still need to get network equipment for them. We'll pay full price for them. But the libraries that do offer E-rate, we're able to get a considerable amount of savings. So it really helps everyone because we're saving money in the long run.
Yeah, that's cool.
Can you remind us, I don't even know for sure how many our member libraries now are. It's always been between 45 and 55, right?
47.
47?
Yes, 47 libraries across 12 counties.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm thrilled. There was even Ashtabula practically in Pennsylvania.
Right. Oh, we're right on the Pennsylvania border. Some of them.
And then I always, because we brag when we go to national stuff, what's the comparables? Is there anything as big as CleanNet in library world in the US?
There are some consortiums, but not really. The breadth of services that we offer, which you'll find, like even SEO, which is probably the largest in Ohio, if you look at sheer number of members. But as of right now, they're only doing the workflows, Circe. They're only collaborating on the book shares and stuff like that. So where we get into network support and like that, I really haven't found anyone that is completely comparable.
And what would you say is the population now of our service area for CleanNet?
It's 1.75 million is our total population served if everyone used us. Let's see.
I'd be curious to know from Director Thomas and the staff, a role for us as board members to talk with other board members of libraries that may consider joining CleanNet. So there's a role for us there.
Absolutely. There's always a role for recruitment. I think what's really, really important, and I think as Jamie is working on the strategic plan for Circe, for CleanNet, is for the board to understand where we want to go. We've been very hesitant to continue to add on. We just didn't have the resources to do that. Now, CleanNet is fully staffed, and there are opportunities for us to go back out and start to recruit more folks to the network. I think what we want to do is be able to be very thoughtful about who we want to recruit. And then be able to kind of share that with the board around having conversations with board members at other libraries, because ultimately it's their board that will make their decision.
How many staff members are there?
So right now, including myself, is 18 with the new hire that we just had.
And then John, how big is your staff at this point?
Not including Tech Central, 12.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I just wanted, as I'm the board member who's been on pretty much since CleanNet started almost. So you have a constant, and nobody else has told you, have a constant call on me if ever you need help with any member of the library or any member library trustee, their board. And I'm always happy to come to any meetings. It's helpful to show the support. In all my time on this board, the board's been unanimous in its continuing support of CleanNet and the mission. And we're just very proud that you guys are maintaining.
Yeah, thank you, and it's very well appreciated.
And I want to just commend Jamie and Mama for their leadership. When Jamie came on, CleanNet was in a very different place. And he's brought a great deal of stability, confidence to making sure everybody is confident in the work that's being done. And now with this new strategic plan, there's this reality that CleanNet can be much different than it is, and being able to share other services, which no other library consortium in the country would do. So Kudos to
Yeah,
you.
I believed in the mission and I still do.
Thank you very much.
Thank
for
you.
that
We didn't need to give them applause.
I'll go ahead and defer to the director for the director's report.
Well, I have three things. First, I see Tim's here, Erica, right? And they're going to share, where is Miss Bella?
Yes.
You want to say a little bit about sharing the whole concept of your story starts here?
Well, one of my greatest pleasures at working at Cleveland Public Library is to hear the stories of our patrons and our staff. And something that I've had the joy to do since I have been with the director's office is to go into our branches and talk to staff. And so I love to hear why they do what they do. And so that day I went to East 131, I sat down with Ms. Erica, and she told me this story. And I came back and told the director, and he said, the board needs to hear this story. So I want to present Erica Smith from our East 131 branch.
Hi, Erica.
Hello,
Good afternoon.
again, my name is Erica Smith. I am a public service associate at East 131 branch of the Cleveland Public Library. I've been with the library since 2014, and I love my job. I really love helping the patrons when they come into the branch. And one of the stories, I have many, but one of the stories that took place a few weeks ago, right before the holidays, a young lady came in and she was looking to update her resume. And I led her to the resume wizard on our computers, and we updated her resume. She came back in and she continued to apply for the job she was looking for. And it just so happened that the day that Melanie was in the branch, she came back in. She was like, look, I got my job. I got the job. She had just went and got her badge. And that's one of the things, one of the joys that I get when I see that I've helped one of the patrons accomplish their goals. So I was really thrilled for her. There are a lot of patrons that do seek my assistance when I'm at work. And that's what I love about my job is that, you know, I could help somebody accomplish their goals when they come in. And they come in one way, but they leave very satisfied when they leave. So, thank you for inviting me.
So we're gonna try to bring Your Story Starts Here every month before the board to see a different library in some ways that they've had an effect on their community.
Thank you.
Your branch has had a big effect on that whole area so much.
Yes, it
My
has.
memories of your branch are planting flowers with people in the neighborhood. And also one time I went there and there was a monarch emerging from its chrysalis and the children were so excited.
Well, I can add one thing for East 131st. The mayor's asked that on Monday, Martin Luther King Day, that we open, because he'd like to do a day on instead of a day off. So he's gonna come in to East 131st and do story time for kids.
Wonderful.
So, yeah, and I'm gonna be there, of course, and others, but if you'd like, any of you would like to join us. That would be good. We need kids, actually.
On Monday.
On Monday, the 20th, at, I think it's going to start at 11. Right.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Tim. We appreciate your leadership view on that and helping us get that situated.
So cool.
So, second, so a reminder that the campus is, MLK campus opens January 25th at noon. Stephanie is still living right now, but her blood pressure is probably super high. She's helping to organize and get everything situated, so she's got places for all of you, sitting and parking and all of those things. So if you have any questions about like the logistics of the day, just grab Stephanie. And then lastly, we typically have not done this, but as we have, when we lose retirees, there are those folks who have just had such an effect on the organization that I wanted to make sure that something is put on the record about them. And so I'm going to read this statement on Crystal Carr-Jeter. Crystal Carr-Jeter, had the great opportunity to work for her for a number of years here at the library. She was our head of the youth services and she just passed away last Friday.
She actually was with us in San Diego.
Yeah.
Say that again?
She was at the conference in San Diego.
She attended the conference in San
Oh,
Diego.
wow.
so
Yeah,
last
so
Yes.
so I had just seen her like less than a month ago, so it wasn't news I expected, but I just want to take a moment to commemorate the life of a librarian who had a profound impact on our profession, Crystal Carr-Jeter, who died last week. Storyteller extraordinaire, Crystal was a friend to many, especially to children and to the authors who write books for them. When Crystal called, the authors answered. Born and educated in Los Angeles, Crystal's earliest work in public libraries was in libraries in her hometown. In 1977, she spread her wings and moved to Anchorage to work in the public library system. She forged deep ties in the tight-knit Anchorage community, notably as a member of the active Alaska Black Caucus and the Community Advisory Board for Alaska's public television affiliate, KAKM. Crystal was recruited to be the head of youth services at Cleveland Public Library in 2001, where she soon became the creative force behind the library's very popular summer reading club events. During her 11 years with CPL, she reestablished service to young adults and worked to advance the mission of CPL's Norman A. Sugarman Children's Biography Award. She was member and past president of the prestigious Coretta Scott King Book Awards Committee. Crystal also worked as CPL's community outreach manager, where her extensive community ties strengthened existing relationships and made many new friends for the library. She was an active and beloved member of many organizations, including the NAACP, the American Library Association, and Delta Sigma Theta sorority, to name a few. F. Scott Fitzgerald penned the line, "There is no second act in American lives," in The Last Tycoon. However, after Crystal retired from CPL in 2012, she proceeded to prove Fitzgerald wrong by embarking on a fulfilling second act as a children's specialist for the Willoughby Eastlake Public Library. At the time of her passing, she was also serving on the current jury for the Coretta Scott King Virginia Hamilton Award for Lifetime Achievement. Please join me in extending most sincere condolences to Crystal's beloved husband, the Reverend Abraham Jeter, and to her family and large circle of friends. She will be dearly missed. So we're going to make sure we send this to her family and they can share it at the funeral. And that's all I have for the director.
Thank you, Director. We do not have no communication today. We're going to move into the Finance Committee report. Trustee Corrigan?
Yes, Exhibit 1 is a resolution to accept the gifts for the month of December 2024. Like all these items, they were discussed and covered at the Finance Committee meeting on Tuesday, but that was, we lacked a quorum, so I'm going to make sure to read the resolve paragraph just to be sure.
Please.
Be resolved that the gifts described in the gift report for December of 2024 be accepted upon the conditions connected with said gifts in accordance with Section 3375.40K of the Hardware Code. So moved.
Second.
Ms. Butts?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Rashid?
Yes.
And Ms. Fryer?
Yes.
Exhibit 2 is a resolution to authorize payment of fees to Cleveland Special Revenue Fund covering the period January 1, 2025 through December 31, 2025. This also is sort of an annual housekeeping ordinance where we basically follow the recommendations of the Finance Officers Association about how to do these things. Therefore, be resolved that the Board of Trustees authorize the payment of $1,888,000 $163.02 to the Cleveland Special Revenue Fund effective January 1, 2025. The expenditure being charged to general fund account 130-10053-53900, other purchase services. So moved.
Second.
And as we discussed, you can see how Cleveland's a very important part of, and we're a very important part of Cleveland. And this expenditure is part of that.
Ms. Butts?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Rashid?
Yes.
And Ms. Fryer?
Yes.
Exhibit 3 is a resolution authorizing amendment to the current agreement with Cleveland State University for American Reads tutoring services and authorizing a new agreement for tutoring services from January 2025 through February 2026. We've been doing this since 2012, and we've also, at Cleveland State's proposal, entered into a new agreement for tutoring services at 10 to 13 library branches, including one remote group of tutors for a term January 16, 2025 through February 28, 2026, at the current contract amount of $78,212. Therefore, be it resolved, the board hereby authorizes the executive director, CEO, or his designee to enter an amendment to the current agreement with Cleveland State for America Reads tutoring services in order to modify the term of the current agreement to run from March 1, 2024 through January 15, 2025. Be further resolved, the board hereby authorizes the executive director, CEO, or his designee to enter into a new agreement with Cleveland State University for America Reads tutoring services from January 16, 2025 through February 28, 2026, at a cost not to exceed $78,212, with such expenditures to be charged to the Founders Fund account 2010103-53710 professional services, which agreement for instrument shall be subject to the approval of the Director of Legal Affairs. So moved.
Second.
Ms. Butts?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Rashid?
Yes.
And Ms. Fryer?
Yes.
Exhibit 4, another annual housekeeping action, resolution authorizing the transfer of funds from the general fund to the building repair fund. Whereas Ohio Revised Code Section 3375.40 L provides for the set aside of unencumbered general fund balances at the end of each fiscal year, whereas the December 31 general fund unencumbered balance unappropriated is $27,083,018.74. There be resolved that the general fund unencumbered balance, the set aside of $9 million from the general fund unencumbered balance, the set aside of $9,500,000 be transferred to the building repair fund to fund an ongoing capital maintenance group 2 of the facilities master plan, technology improvements, and other capital projects that include repair, renovation, construction of the library's buildings, and that remaining general fund unencumbered balance be carried forward for operating expenses. So moved.
Second.
Ms. Butts?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Rashid?
Yes.
And Ms. Fryer?
Yes.
And Exhibit 5, the final housekeeping resolution, First Amendment to the year 2025 appropriation, whereas the code provides for amendment of appropriation measure when necessary, whereas the aggregate of all appropriation classifications does not exceed the total amount submitted to the California Budget Commission. Now therefore be resolved that the sums indicated on the attached First Amendment to the year 2025 appropriation schedule be approved. So moved.
Second.
Ms. Butts?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Rashid?
Yes.
And Ms. Fryer?
Yes.
The balance of the Finance Committee report consists of non-voting elements. The Fiscal Officer's Report, Report A, Report on Investments, Report B, Report C, the Report on Conference and Travel Expenditures, Report I, Report on all vendor expenditures, J, Report on expenditures made from the owner's contingency funds for Hop West Park Woodland Center Distribution Facility, Eastman MLK Junior Rock Ford in Glenville. Report E, Report on the expenditures made from the owner's contingency fund for the High Density Shelving Project. Report F, Report on expenditures made from the owner's contingency fund for the new main library staff breakout room project. Report G, Report on expenditures made from the owner's contingency fund for the Tech Central renovation project, Report H. Report on expenditures made from the owner's contingency fund for the Lake Shore Facility Chiller Replacement Project, first and final report for December 2024. That's Report I. And fees paid for legal and consulting services for the period October 1 through 12/31/2024, Report J. That would conclude the Finance Committee report unless there's a question, so reports are on.
Thank you so much, Trustee Corrigan. We're now going to move into the Human Resource Committee report. Trustee Shakarian.
Thank you. I present Exhibit 6, the regular employee employment report, highlighting the new hires, transfers, resignations, retirements, and term terminations. So moved.
Second.
Ms. Butts?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Rashid?
Yes.
And Ms. Fryer?
Yes.
And I'm pleased to present Exhibit 7, retirement citation recognition. A citation has been issued for the following staff members on the occasion of their retirement. Jan Sikorsky for 17 years as a page for Ohio Library for the Blind and print disabled, as well as Anise Jefferson for 7 years, branch clerk at Langston Hughes. I'd like the record to reflect that Jan, this is a second stint for Jan, who previously was with us for how many years? 53 years total. So congratulations both to Jan. And that is, so moved.
Second.
Ms. Butts?
Here.
Ms.
Yes.
Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Rashid?
Yes.
And Ms. Fryer?
Yes.
And as we pointed out at Finance Committee, there's something about the Ohio Library for the Blind and Print Disabled. This is like the third or fourth person who retired and then went back to take a lower level position because they just love that community and the work that's done there. And Jan is probably the strongest example of that, so we're very, very grateful.
And balance of the Human Resources Committee report, our reports on sick time, our EEO report, and insurance summary report. That concludes the Human Resources.
I have a question, excuse me, for the report on the paid sick time. I see Lynn isn't here, but has it increased due to the increase in staff? Because I was looking at that quickly. I want to say maybe, because in 2023, we had less staff than we do, and than we did in 2024. So is that, am I on the right track? Okay.
Yeah, and,
What were the number comparisons?
They're not
They're-
that off,
yeah.
but there is a increase.
I
if you
mean,
see
in
it on
terms of
there.
number of.
It's
about
it's on the
8,000.
report.
It's about
3,000.
3,000 hours.
Yeah.
So.
So, those kind of vary. It also varies with the weather and a variety of other things that have
Okay.
an effect on things. But I think Lynn is unfortunately unable to
Right.
join us today.
That's
but
okay, I was
What
just
we'll do
thinking.
is, we can do, Stephanie will make a note and we'll make sure she, Trustee Shakarian,
Mhm.
if you'd like, I could have Lynn make take a little bit of deeper dive on this at the next board meeting.
Mhm.
So,
Thank you, I was
as
just
he's
looking
making a
at
note and,
for,
in our meeting, we can bring that to you.
That'd be great, thank you.
thank you. And thank you, Trustee Shakarian. We're now gonna move into the Community Service Committee report. Trustee Fryer?
Exhibit 8 is the amendment to the fines and fee schedule. Whereas the state auditor requires that the fines and fees assessed by Cleveland Public Library be approved by the Board of Library Trustees, and whereas the fines and fee schedule is revised and updated as needed from time to time to provide greater clarity and definition to library operations and services, and whereas on June 18th, the board revised the fines and fees schedule to update the replacement fee for the Wi-Fi hotspots, raising the replacement cost from $75 to $90. And whereas the current fines and fee schedule needs to be revised further in order to update the replacement fees for other components of the Wi-Fi hotspots, which will be revised to increase the replacement cost to $10 for the mobile hotspot cable and $20 for the case, for a total of $120 replacement cost for all mobile hotspot components. And whereas the fines and fee schedule needs to be further revised to include an up-to-date listing of meeting spaces in the Louisville Wing and main library that are available for patrons and groups to reserve, as well as the updated fees for such spaces, which are shown in Exhibit A to this resolution. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Library Trustees approves the revised fines and fee schedule as attached to be effective February 1st, 2025. So moved.
Second.
Ms. Buds?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Rashid?
Yes.
And Ms. Fryer?
Yes. Report N is the monthly activity report. And if no further questions, we'll have John start with the building site update.
Thank you. As the director mentioned, we're looking forward to the grand opening of MLK on Saturday, the 25th, while we're finishing the construction, working to finish the construction on our largest joint development project. We're still working on our others, which is the Walls Branch. So we've been in close coordination, the legal teams and the building teams, project teams with West 80th, Northwest Neighborhoods. Sal is their development partner. We are finalizing the CREA documents. We're in bidding with Gilbane. We'll be putting together a GMP with the target of coming to March board to hopefully authorize moving forward on the Walls project. That's still a lot that has to happen, but we're optimistic at this point. Glenville, we got a chance to visit the Glenville Construction Center earlier this week, and we are on track to open the Glenville campus in May. We don't have a date established yet, but construction is moving at pace, so that's good. I'll be back to board in February to discuss the plans for the Group 2 of the facilities master plan, which projects will be in Groups 2A and 2B, and what the bond issuance will look like for that. I did want to mention, the directors asked me anytime we close a building to a building issue to let board know. Addison was closed earlier this week. You may have seen in the news, Cleveland Public Power had a widespread outage on the east side, so we were down in the afternoon while the power was out. It unfortunately fried a controller in our rooftop HVAC unit, so we were closed for one day while we had temporary fixes made, and the building is now open and under temperature controls. I wanted to give a shout out to the carpenter shop under the leadership of Frank Connie, who's been the snow plow team for the library over the last several weeks. So his crew
Busy season. Yeah.
Busy season. Yeah. Hasn't been massive snow totals, but the number of snowfall events has been enough that they're on the road 5 a.m. most days and making sure we're ready for public services at our normal opening time. Tech Central 2.0 construction is moving forward, hoping to announce an opening date for March, possibly early April, depending on how the floor box is. And sorry,
I just gasped that early April.
I said a good way or a bad way?
No, okay, no, sorry.
Now you got me confused. What are we talking about?
Tech Central renovation.
Oh, okay.
We were hoping to open. No, I misspoke. We're hoping to open by the end of February. Now we're looking at probably sometime in March. So I'm saying April 1st, just to give us a little.
Okay.
Back end. If you notice from Report E, I'll just point out that the Woodland and Central Distribution projects have been financially closed out. They're out of warranty at this point. So you'll see Report E continue to shrink as the number of projects that have open contingency funds gets reduced as we close out projects. And I think some of the board is going to be assisting. We're initiating a project for renovation of LSW 10, started as a carpet project, take an opportunity to change some of the, update some of the finishes, including the boardroom. So I know you all love the 1994 vintage paisley carpet. We're hoping to move on from that and look forward to working with some of you as we look at our interior designers on that side. That's all I have. Any questions?
I'd be careful. There is somebody who was here when the paisley was
I do have a question, or maybe an ask. I was wondering if, and I like the fact that you said that this is closed down, because sometimes when I'm looking at the financial reports and the different, I would like to know, like, I know there was some shelving things going on, but for me, when everything is final and done with this, I'm always signing checks. I would like to know when everything is finished and everything has been cleared and done with. So when I'm signing checks, I'm like, isn't this done yet?
Yeah. And
Does
then,
that make
and then
sense?
when they're posted on there, I'll put underneath final report if it is on the header.
Would that be easier for us to, for me?
And we'll
would-
let you know too when there are final
I
reports,
think if
as
we
they'll
can-
be closing out more now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the shelving unit, isn't that done? Are we gonna pay it done?
It hasn't closed out. yet.
Okay, it hasn't, okay.
No.
Because I just signed something.
No.
And I would like to know also for several reasons that this is it, so that I know what to expect, when we're coming in to sign checks and stuff. And I'm sure the board wants to know, are we done paying them?
Well, and as we, as the project team likes to tell our internal clients, building open does not mean project complete.
No, I know.
It's just usually warranty. The builder's warranty is good for a year, so we typically, as a very care, we would not close out an FMP project less than a year after we open. the
Okay.
building.
Well, even if, maybe if you could include that, at this point, we're gonna be working under for that year warranty at this point forward, just to give me a little clue. I don't know if if I can, please.
I'm sorry.
Huh?
I'm excited about Waltz continually moving forward. They have their annual meeting, I think it's the 27th of February. Is that still programmatically, was there gonna be an update about Waltz to their community through that event?
I think we're planning to participate in that.
And we're participating.
What date is that?
February 27th?
Yeah.
Can you send us something?
Yes.
So,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think all of us
we're-
as board members should try to go.
Yeah, that's, send us something so we could try to, with all the information.
Yeah, we're allowing them to take the lead on
Sure,
the event so that,
That's fine.
right, so that we're just participants and it, but, it's still, as you'll see from our basic complaint, there's a sense of where's the library in on this, and we recognize that there's still a lot to be done with Northwest, so we're getting there though.
I just had it's probably an odd question, but in thinking of like next week being pretty frigid temperatures, and we may still be open and people will probably come to the library to keep warm. I know with the garden being closed, I'm assuming it's because there's potential hazards if someone's walking, and because of the snow. But I'm just thinking of if people are coming from where City Hall is and they're coming how to,
We do typically close the library if there's ice on the ground.
Okay.
Because we don't like to over salt the garden because of the myelin fountain and other reasons. But, so that is true, but the reason it's closed at the moment is because we're doing the lighting upgrades.
Oh,
So we
yes.
have contractors pulling cable through the garden, not every day, but on a weekly basis.
I was just thinking of on days where it's really cold, shortcuts for people depending on the direction they're coming.
Oh, yeah. Believe me, I hear them.
Everybody, they want it
And
open year round.
They wanted to open year round, and we've been fortunate the last few years that the weather has been better and that we've been able to open up more. But we've been closed mostly because they're doing repairs and they're doing work. So.
And John, I just wanted to, I know there's always a balance between environmental concerns and safety in our application of de-icing products. What's our principal product and how do we address that balance?
We have a product we use on new concrete, so for the first year a new building's open, I don't know it's magnesium chloride, I think, instead of sodium chloride, but it's not corrosive, so that, because concrete will cure for a year after it's placed.
Right.
So we do that on our new buildings, otherwise it's pretty much just rock salt.
Thank you so much, John. And I'll turn over to Shanice for the advocacy task force update and the foundation.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, good afternoon.
Yeah.
Hi, I'd like to introduce to you Alan Jones Jr. He is volunteering with us this week in the External Relations Department from University. And so I'd like for him to talk about his major and what he looks to accomplish during.
And where the school is. Don't steal his thunder.
So yes, the school is in Hampton, Connecticut. I'm actually in my senior year right now, so being here, working on the productions has been very nice just to take another step forward, trying to figure out exactly what I need to do for my career path. So here I've done the Cleveland Foundation as an internship, and I think it's just been very helpful for me. In the communications program, also minor in sports studies, I've always been very interested in sports, and doing communications, I've come to find a couple things such as journalism or social media, just as a couple of things that have interested me, so, yeah.
Wonderful.
We have some ideas for you, actually. I just thought of something. John Skirty, wherever you are.
There he is.
Right.
And our cabs are doing good, so.
Yeah.
Fun time to be in Cleveland.
As it relates to the advocacy report and in alignment with the governor's Science of Reading effort, there has been a local effort here led by Chief Pomeranz with the city that we're working side by side on her. The component that we're really working with her on is the community component, and really the leadership of Jacqueline Lamb is the one who has been working directly with that committee on that effort. But our focal point is out of school time, and we have received funding to train our librarians on the science of reading. So when students are here, we're doing our part to supplement what's going on in the classroom, whether it's a charter or a CMSD school. In addition to that, we did just receive word from IMLS that we've been invited to submit a proposal, and that's including Cleveland, Columbus, Cuyahoga County, Cincinnati, Toledo. We're all coming together across the state to train librarians consistently. So because Jacqueline already has a little bit of money, I think we will have learnings from that we can also implement statewide. But this is a statewide effort.
Jacqueline was like, what, buddy?
I do. So we are looking forward to advancing that area and working with the city on a citywide and statewide effort to support the governors and our scholars and our scholars. And we're also getting ready for Ohio Library Council's Legislative Day. It's going to be on April 8th this year. If you guys would like to, if any of you would like to come, we'd love to have you. I can share that with Stephanie so that we can get that information to you directly. And then as it relates to the foundation, I'm happy to report that the foundation has reached 103% of their fundraising goal.
Oh, wow.
So we did surpass the foundation surpassed its fundraising goal. So we're super excited about that. And so but we look forward to bringing more dollars in for the library to extend its community impact.
Wow.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
That is awesome. Before we move on to the DEI report, just because she mentioned the science of reading, is it appropriate for you or Jacqueline to mention yesterday? And of course, I cannot sing enough praise to the entire team, but I'll do that after maybe you share a little bit about yesterday.
Yeah, come on up, Jacqueline. Yeah, Jacqueline actually made this happen, so I want to make sure you get praise for it.
No.
Tell everybody.
Yes, so yesterday we had an amazing all-day training. It was Cleveland Metropolitan School District library media specialists and our children's librarians got together, and they were able to grow, learn, and develop together with the support of our staff training and also CMSB staff training. We also had Janet from the state library come as well to train on some great things that's happening. I think the best thing that came out of yesterday, we asked our the library media specialists and our children's librarians, what did you get out of today? And one of the library media specialists shared that she is at Luis Munoz Moran and also at Bureau Dual Language Academy, and she doesn't speak Spanish. But our children's librarian who supports those schools do, and so they're going to collaborate on how they can better support parents and the children together. And so everybody walked away connecting with each other and being able to have next steps on how we're going to wrap around children and families to support literacy. And they felt so good. Our children's librarians at the end, they said, I felt like a professional today. Like I felt like, I was with my peers and people who love books just as much as me, and I'm motivated and encouraged to keep going. And so I'm so proud. And I'm just so proud of Anisha Jeffries and Lynn Guile. They worked very hard. And ERD provided food yesterday. And they were just so excited to have a lunch prepared for them. So I'm just very, very grateful. And Erica also came to present as well. So we're just excited about what's to come. There's some great things coming, and I'm excited to lead this work. And thank you for being there, Trustee Fryer and Aaron.
Well, I had the opportunity to meet with you, I believe it was last Friday, and learning more about her story and going through some personal things, news of the death of the former employee. And she couldn't have been more positive. This is news to no one else here, but your passion and commitment to this work, like she wears it on her sleeve. I asked about her vision for the department and the work that she leads, and she was able to just share it so clearly and passionate with me. And then she invited me to attend the event yesterday. And certainly as a former CMSD board member, it was just so wonderful to hear about the collaboration, all because you had a question or an idea about what could be improved and better. I think Director Thomas, you know you have an awesome staff, but I'm always so impressed when I meet with the team. And then I was not surprised. I had met Anisha before, but I'm like, yeah, they're on the same team. Just so positive, and the space was collaborative and fun and intentional, and the hard work was very clear. Janet from the State Library, she remarked on how impressive it was to see not just the staff who were in attendance to get the professional development, but representation from the city. Director Thomas spoke, and I was just so thrilled to be there. I can go on and on and on, but I was just so excited. The number of educators and folks that I called afterwards and like, did you know this was happening? And then just having the opportunity to speak with Erica about the upcoming events and how intentional she's been to highlight so many awesome authors. And just even the conversation with Erica, she was talking about for some of the upcoming block parties, events that she's planning, how intentional they are about even lunch and what happens there. I have no doubt that everyone is working so hard to fulfill the People's University's mission, and I just thank you all for being awesome practitioners.
One great thing that Jacqueline has done is she's broken the glass. You know, to get through to CMSD, everyone recognizes this, you know, there can be challenges because it's so big, and to break through, it's been so hard, and we've been working so hard at it. And Jacqueline just came in and just said, like, give me a big hammer, and I'm just gonna keep chipping away. And it finally broke apart, and she met with Kyle.
Yes.
He was over the librarians there, and he's like, let's do it, and it's really worked. So we're gonna connect through CMSD through the librarians, and I think that's an avenue that we're. So thanks, Jacqueline.
Thank you so much.
And I know you said they'll kind of in May or whatnot, there'll be another PD. Certainly encourage other board members to attend, and my understanding too is even something that's seemingly so small about the MLK reopening, your inquiry led to some possibilities for parking. So just, it's exciting on large and small scale of what that collaboration could mean for our learners and the folks that we serve across the city.
Thank you.
I will turn it over to, sorry, I lost my.
Ashley Boyd.
Yes, Ashley for the DEI update.
How can I top that? You should have let me know.
I figured everyone.
Get out.
Oh, wow. Okay, so the Office of DEI has been working very, very hard with our planning for the month of February, actually, because we have an awesome event planned for Black History Month. So for Black History Month this year, we will also be celebrating at MLK. And this is going to be a second part to last year's The Crown. So this is called The Crown Continues, the Art and Cure of Natural Hair. And so we have some very special guests this year that are going to be speaking about both the Crown Act and the Art and Cure of Natural Hair. So joining us this year on February 24th, which is a Monday, and you all will receive formal invitations. It will be at MLK from 6 to 8 p.m. We have a very special
date again?
Yes, February 24th.
24th.
It's a Monday. We will have special guests, our State Representative Juanita Brent. She is one of the influential people who has authored the Crown Act. So she will be there to talk a little bit more about the Crown Act and what it means and how we're still pushing to get this initiative passed in the state of Ohio. I think I mentioned last time we met, it is passed in several cities, but not here in Cleveland. So there is still a big push to get it passed here in the state of Ohio so that people cannot be discriminated based upon their hair, both in school and at the workplace. So she will be not only our guest speaker, but she will serve as a panelist. We will have our keynote moderator will be Saya Mayorka. She is a WKYC news anchor. She will be moderating the conversation between Hillary Beard and George Johnson. For those of you who are not familiar with George Johnson, he created UltraSheen and AfroSheen. He is a native of Chicago, Illinois, and so he's actually 97 years old. So he will not have a physical presence here, but he will be streamed here. However, the author of his memoir, Hillary Beard, will be here. And so the conversation between the two of them will be facilitated by our news anchor, Sia Mayorka. So we look forward to that conversation. Also joining us, and I failed to mention that this is a collaboration between CPL and the YWCA. So we're happy to be partnering with them on this year. We will have a panelist conversation that will be facilitated by the president of the YWCA, and her name is Ellen Forbes Steele. So we have a number of people involved that are going to come out. We will have a raffle for Hillary Beard's memoir of George Johnson. So we will have a book signing. We have a lot of local community partners joining us. So we expect to have a large community presence. So we hope all of you can come out and join us. We're very, very excited about the conversations.
After the opening, that must be the first big programming
That'll be
event.
nice.
No.
No, we have no.
Actually, what's going on like 3 days afterwards?
Oh, boy.
20.
That's just the movies.
Yeah.
Can you come up, Erica?
Yeah, come on up. Erica, come on. I think you got like 3 fingers.
So Laura Cowan, who is from Cleveland, Ohio, her story, I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with her. Lifetime they did a movie on her story, and it comes out this weekend. And so her being from Cleveland, they wanted to do, her friends and close colleagues wanted to do something for her here in the city. And so they reached out to the Cleveland Public Library and said, hey, we want to do something. So that will actually be the first event. We're doing a Q&A and a screening and or just showing some clips of her film that talks about her story and her journey and all that she experienced.
What date is that?
That is Tuesday, January 28th.
I think I saw advertisement about that, and that's a Lifetime movie, isn't it? They're making it into a Lifetime. I did see that.
So that'll be right after our opening, so that'll be our first big event.
Nice.
First movie.
Yes.
Huh?
The first movie with a special screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the special screen. It is up and working, correct? Oh.
The screen's up and working. The projector is giving us fits right now. So we're looking forward to supporting.
I'm sure it'll be ready to go.
Yes.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. Excited to hear about all those events. I'm certainly looking forward to them, and it was great to hear as well. I did say this, that with the foundation report that they exceeded their fundraising goals.
That's wonderful again, yes.
That concludes the community survey report.
Thank you, Trustee Fryer. At this time, we have no old or new business. We have 2 public comments.
Before we stop.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Where's Crystal?
Right here.
She's hiding back there. Crystal, would you mind introducing your new team?
Oh, yeah.
After I failed to introduce Kim Hunter, who's the manager at Martin Luther King, who I was just shocked to see you here because you've been running around trying to get everything situated, and everybody has been very appreciative of all the work that you and your team has done. So again, so thank you. But we have some new managers, and I wanted to make sure we could put the names and faces together.
Okay, so we have Peter Roth, who is now the
Regional Director. Forrest Likens is our West Regional Director. Nick Durga, he stepped out with a phone call, but he is the Central Regional Director. And then we also have, as you mentioned, Kimberly Hunter is here from MLK. Greenwood from East 131. Rudzinski from Sterling. They are all our managers.
They will be based at their home,
Yes.
libraries though, right?
Right, so Peter will be at Brooklyn for the time being until
Yes.
Glenville reopens.
Right.
Forrest is at West Park and Nick is at Jefferson.
And then you'll go back to Glenville when it reopens.
As promised, I am thrilled to be returning to Glenville. But I'm also thrilled to remain at Brooklyn in that meantime. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, thank you for being so flexible.
And someone's texted me that we need to make sure that Mohammed is introduced.
I wanted him to be able to say hello to the, I did.
He did introduce him. He's from Cleveland. He's just got hired in 2023, right?
I get
24. See,
Almost a year.
I was paying attention.
So we basically introduced everybody in here.
Yes.
We introduced Prince Fox. He
Yeah.
helped us get our computers in. So I think we've introduced everybody.
I wanted also, if you haven't noticed, I was not there, but in 1895.
There we go.
The Ohio Library, what is now the Ohio Library Council, started in Cleveland. And in November, statewide, the annual conference of all the libraries in the state of Ohio will be in Cleveland, November 19th to the 21st.
Yeah.
To celebrate 130 years. As I said, I wasn't there.
Yeah.
But to celebrate 130 years. So I just want to make sure, we'll have a lot to do. It's not given all the things we're doing right away, but as we get towards summer and fall, this is going to be a chance for us to make sure that everybody in the rest of the state knows again how important we are to library history and library future in the state of Ohio.
Yeah, there's a local arrangements committee. Erica's serving on that committee or possibly chairing it. And so if anyone on the board would like to be part of helping to host those folks when they come here, we want to make sure that everyone sees Cleveland again. It's been the last conference that was in Cleveland, I think, was 20 years ago.
Yep.
Which is crazy because
Wow.
generally they go every 4 years to the bigger cities. So we need to show up, show out. That's the number one key.
So we can send an update or a blast for the board as well,
Mm-hmm.
so everybody can look to see if they're being. Thank you, everyone, again. We have 2 public comments. One was from Ms. Carol Burns. She stated that updated computers and printer is badly needed at the Harvard E branch. Sometimes the computer goes blank while in use. Often the printer's out of order. We did try to respond and write back to her, but it bounced back. The email she sent it from wasn't accurate. So they did call her personally to let her know that the computers have been updated and the printer is now working. So, but she's like 92 years old. So I'm sure she appreciated that personal touch of us reaching out to her, letting her know that this has been fixed. There's new computers and a new printer. So we got you, Ms. Burns. So the other one was from Timothy Sommerfeld. Last night I watched the sitcom Parks and Rec. For several seasons of the show, Leslie Knope works to get the pit redeveloped into a park. As I watched, I noticed striking similarities between the fictional pit and the former Walsh Branch site. Both in appearance, timeline, and perpetual inaction with one key difference. The pit eventually gets rebuilt, whereas the Walsh site remains a literal pit. I have a 16-month-old daughter. She has yet to enjoy the services afforded by a walkable urban library because the Walsh Branch was gone well before she was even conceived. As an organization, CPL made a huge mistake by bulldozing a functional library. We can't undo the past, but we can make good on our long overdue promises to build its long-awaited replacement. So we did respond to Mr. Summerfeld and about, our new vision and where we're at with the Wells branch. And also on the minutes here, we are always getting updates about what's going on. So hopefully in the very, very near future, there will be a bulldozer on site. Thank you, I hope. Yes. We will cross fingers.
And then, Director, I thought you might mention, somebody said that the attendance for the band is already exceeding what the attendance for the archive was at this point in time.
For
Yes.
real?
It was like kicking it with Kenneth the other morning.
Wow.
I saw that.
Awesome.
So
That's very cool.
Is it really? Wow, that's fun. Awesome. At this time, I move to adjourn into executive session to discuss personnel matters.
Do you want to do that before the organization meeting or?
Yes, we do, and then we'll come back.
Second.
Ms. Butts?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Rashid?
Yes.
And Ms. Bryant?
That long, I don't think, it's only one issue. The organization will be. executive session and back until
And the second,
second.
Second.
Ms. Butts?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Rashid?
Yes.
And Ms. Fryer?
Yes.
We're now gonna adjourn to the 2025 organizational meeting. What is it right now? Okay.
Is there anybody out there we should invite back in?
Oh.
Sharon? Just for a public session.
Let's see there, Michael wanted to make sure anybody was available, he was available for any tours. you might
No,
wanna go on.
get out.
I'll be here till 9 o'clock.
And I'll take the roll. Ms. Butts?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Here.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Rashid?
Yes.
And Ms. Fryer?
We're not gonna do the election officers, trustee Shakarian or Rashid?
No? Oh.
I don't
Next
know.
one. I will learn right now.
I need to refer to my notes to make sure I correctly highlight this, from, on behalf of trustee Parker, who could not be here today. I would like to present to the board, at this, meeting, the slate of officers, renewing all the current terms of our officers, President Marissa Rodriguez, okay, please help me.
Vice Chair.
Vice
Parker.
Chair, Parker, and Treasurer, Tom Corrigan. Secretary, Tom Corrigan.
Treasurer, we have to.
And Carrie, yes. So moved.
Second.
Ms. Butts?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Rashid?
Yes.
And Ms. Fryer?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Our next order of business is the election of the fiscal officer and appointment of deputy fiscal officer. Exhibit 1 is the election of fiscal officer and appointment of deputy fiscal officer. Would you like to read that since I put a milk duds in my mouth?
Be it resolved that Carolyn Carey Krenicki be elected to serve as fiscal officer from the year 2025 organizational meeting through the year 2026 organizational meeting, and that the stipend of $500 per month be paid for the duties as fiscal officer. And be it resolved that Laura Armstrong be appointed to serve as deputy fiscal officer from the year 2025 organizational meeting through the year 2026 organizational meeting, and that a stipend of $350 per month be paid for the duties as deputy fiscal officer. So moved.
Second. And
Ms. Butts?
this is where I always remind everybody that by statute,
Yes.
they are volunteering to go to jail for us.
Yeah.
Not that we expect it to happen, but in any event, this is the important distinction. And of course, this goes back, and Carrie probably knows this, but I don't know if Laura does. This goes all the way back to when Marilyn Mason was director. And she had been under the statute, the treasurer, and that had been the tradition for the director of the library for a number of years. And when we made the change, I said, "Are you just trying to avoid going to jail?" And she said, "Yes." and so that's how I thought I'd give the history of how my comment has become. And of course, we hadn't told Joan that that's what I was going to ask. So
And
now
then Joan became the fiscal officer.
Yeah, Joan became and I said to Joan, "So this means you can go to jail." And it was a little bit of a surprise, so.
Well, thank you for your work. At this time, the meetings are, go ahead.
Ms. Butts?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
Yeah.
Ms. Shakarian, Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Rashid?
Yes.
Ms. Fryer?
Yes.
At this time, I call the meetings to be adjourned.
Sorry.
Go. Thank you.
Yeah, I want to.
Thanks, Laura.